off this list, in our number 10 spot we have the kingdom. This passage is one that comes from Matthew 7:21-23, and it reads, "Not everyone who says to me, Lord, Lord, will enter the kingdom of heaven, but the one who does the will of thy Father who is in heaven. On that day many will say to me, Lord, Lord, did we not prophesy in your name, and cast out demons in your name, and do many mighty works in your name? And then I will declare to them, I never knew you. Depart from me, you workers of lawlessness." Some people feel as though this passage is suggesting that there are people out there who believe themselves to be Christians, and people who are thinking that they are going to go to heaven or paradise when they die, but in reality, they don't know God at all, and he sees things very differently than they do. Definitely drives home the fact that not all good work lands people a spot in heaven. In our number 9 spot today, we have the judgment of Solomon. When two women approached King Solomon with a question, no one had any idea of what horrors were about to ensue. The women wanted to know which one of them was the mother of the baby, and the king had quite an interesting solution. 1 Kings 3:24 reads, "And the king said, bring me a sword. And they brought a sword before the king. And the king said, divide the living child in two, and give half to the one and half to the other." Yeah, the king suggested that they just cut the baby in half and split it. I mean, why didn't they think of that? Don't worry, no babies were harmed in this particular instance, as the true mother of the child was revealed when she sacrificed her life with the baby in order to save its life, while the other woman was on board with the whole slicing it in half thing. The passage finishes off by reading, "The king gave his decision. Give the living baby to the first woman. No one is going to kill this baby. She is the real mother." The word got around, everyone in Israel's heard of the king's judgment. They were all in awe of the king, realizing that it was God's wisdom that enabled him to judge truly. In our number 8 spot today, we have the destruction of Sodom and Gomorrah. This story starts off when angels begin trying to visit Lot, who is a very devout and pious man. Things quickly go awry, however, as before they can enter his house, they are attacked by an angry mob from Sodom. Lot tries to save the angels, and to do this, he offers up his own daughters to the mob. I mean, like I mentioned, he's very devout, so I'm sure he means well, but if I was one of those daughters, I would have been pissed. Thankfully, the angels end up finding a different alternative. They instead blind the mob, and the daughters are spared. The angels then lead Lot and co. away from the burning city. As they leave, however, Lot's wife looks back on her burning home just to get like one last glimpse. Can we really blame her? Well, apparently someone can, because when she looks back, she is immediately turned into a pillar of salt due to her apparent lack of faith. If you can believe this, that isn't even the craziest part of the story. But the next part is not written for YouTube guidelines, so there's not much of it that I can repeat. Let's just say that Lot and his daughters find a cave to hide out in, and they decide to continue on the lineage. I'm not really sure what the lesson in this one is, to be honest. Don't look back as you're fleeing your home, offer up your own daughter for sacrifice. I don't know, man. In our number 7 spot today, we have Gabriel. So in many of the texts, angels are like the messengers of God, but they also have their own powers and abilities that they can use as they see fit. In one particular story, Archangel Gabriel is sent to announce the birth of John the Baptist to Zechariah, but when Gabriel does this, he gets a less than enthusiastic response from Zechariah. In fact, this response was one of protest, and Gabriel did not like that. He said, "I am Gabriel, I stand in the presence of God, and I have been sent to speak to you and to bring you this good news. But now, because you do not believe my words, you will become mute, unable to speak until the day these things occur." Yeah, the guy didn't like being dismissed, so he just took away his ability to speak for a bit to teach him a lesson. I guess the lesson here is to listen to an angel if it appears to you and tells you that you're gonna have a kid? I'm not sure. At the end of the day, it's a bit of a dark way to deliver the good news. He's like, do you want the good news first or the bad news? In our number 6 spot today, we have John the Baptist. This tale starts off when King Herod had John the Baptist imprisoned after he spoke out against the king for divorcing and then remarrying his own brother's wife. While in jail, the king was throwing a huge party, and part of the entertainment was when the king's new stepdaughter was dancing for all the men. The king became completely enthralled with her. I know, I'm creeped out too, but he is so obsessed that he offers her anything that she wants. She has quite an unexpected answer, however, as her response is that she wants John the Baptist's head brought to her on a platter. The king doesn't really want to do this, but he also promised her anything she wished, and this was what she wanted. Thus, the beheading of John the Baptist took place, and she was served his head on a platter in front of the whole party. Imagine you're just like enjoying a nice charcuterie plate, some wine, enjoying the party, and then someone brings out a head on a platter. Yeah, terrible party, appetite fully ruined. John the Baptist, although he met a cruel fate, would later go on to be sainted. In our number 5 spot today we have King Herod's fate. Back with another King Herod story, this time he is meeting his own fate, and man, it is truly not ideal. Basically, he shows up, he's doing some public speaking, and in doing so he is challenged. Despite this challenge, he still refuses to acknowledge God as the one true God. If we know anything about that in the Bible, it usually does not end well for those who don't acknowledge this. This leads to Herod immediately being struck down by God. I mean, he wasn't just gonna stand for that, especially in front of a bunch of his followers, but that isn't just the average striking down. He didn't just die right there on the spot. Oh no, his fate had to be much worse than instant death. Instead, he likely wished that were the case, as he met his fate by slowly being eaten alive by worms from the inside out. Slow, agonizing, completely dreadful. This story truly is not for the faint of heart, but it serves as a great reminder for those who believe in the stories of the Bible. In our number 4 spot today we have the 4 horsemen of the apocalypse. These 4 entities are described as part of the prophecy by John in the book of Revelations. Many people take their story to mean that these horsemen are those who will bring the apocalypse and that they are the harbingers of the last judgment. It is said that pestilence or plague will ride in on a white horse, war on a red horse, and famine on a black horse, and death on a pale horse. The story in the Bible speaks of how a quarter of the Earth's population will be killed by a combination of all of the horsemen. All in all, while these horsemen definitely have creepy descriptions, nothing is as creepy as the thought of them bringing the apocalypse with them. In our number 3 spot today we have Joram and the Mothers. For this one, I'll start with the passage and we can dive into what it all really means after. So 2 Kings 6:28-29 reads, "And the king said unto her, What aileth thee? And she answered, This woman said unto me, Give thy son, that we may eat him today, and we will eat my son tomorrow. So we boiled my son, and did eat him. And I said unto her the next day, Give thy son, that we may eat him, and she hath hid her son." If you didn't quite catch that, this passage tells the story of 2 starving women who agree to their own children in order to survive. Once they eat the first woman's child, the second woman doesn't hold up her end of the deal and instead hides her son to protect him. The story is clearly very gruesome and horrible, but many people believe its desperation and deceit shows not only the king but also the reader the severity of what people are going through when they are enduring an enemy siege. In our number 2 spot today we have Raphael. Raphael is one of the true archangels and he is the 4th oldest of the 5. He is a powerful healer, a guardian angel, and a great fighter, but there is just one unsettling story in particular that I really want to talk about, and that story comes from the book of Enoch. In this story, Raphael is in a battle with the demon Azazel. Raphael is able to defeat the demon, but decides to subject him to a fate worse than death. The story writes, "Bind Azazel hand and foot, and cast him into the darkness, and make an opening in the desert, which is in Duodel, and cast him therein, and place upon him rough and jagged rocks, and cover him with darkness, and let him abide there forever, and cover his face that he may not see light, and on the day of the great judgment he shall be cast into the fire." If that wasn't clear enough, Raphael tied this demon up, buried him alive in a hole full of rocks in the middle of the desert, where he now just gets to wait until he can be thrown into a fire and burned alive. I gotta say, that is very dark, but it has become abundantly clear, do not mess with an angel, okay? In our number 1 spot today we have the nephews. Moses had 2 nephews named Nadab and Abihu, and their father Aaron was quite important to the priest community, and he was the only one who was meant to make sacrifices to God. These 2, however, decided that they too should be good enough to burn an offering, but things did not go to plan for them. You know, no one can start feeling too good about themselves without some kind of consequence. We don't want anyone getting too big of an ego around here. When this happened, God decided to send a huge fire from heaven that completely engulfed both of the men and just fried them to ash on the spot. Right where they stood, they ended up completely charred, and everyone learned a very valuable lesson that day, it seems.
Number 10, Hokum. There are more than a few reasons to fear cemeteries, though I personally find them pretty peaceful. During the day anyways. But many believe, and rightly so, that spirits of both good and evil walk among the stones and sleeping corpses. In the Indonesian and Malaysian tradition, one such spirit is actually a demon named Hokum, and you don't want to run into him. He is pale, shriveled with no eyes, and his body drips with decay as he floats around. Hokum is a result of a tormented spirit who is trapped on earth. In the tradition of Muslim burials, a shroud must cover the body and be tied in 3 places: the head, the neck, and the feet. Then, after 46 days, the ties are to be removed so the soul can be set free. But if they forget, then the soul is trapped. As a result, the soul turns into a bitter, tormented demon and will spend its time on Earth attacking anyone it encounters. Should you ever encounter one, though, fall to the ground and play dead or run down a long road until you're out of sight. Peace, demon. Alright, number 9, Legion. What's more terrifying than one demon, you ask? Well, obviously more than one. In fact, lots and lots of demons. In the Bible, in the Gospel of Mark 5:9, a man approached Jesus and claimed he was afflicted by a demon. When Jesus asked the man, "What is thy name?" he answered, "My name is Legion, for we are many." Like, what an epic way to present yourself, you know? Sounded like things were pretty crowded in the poor guy. Somehow this guy got possessed by over 2,000 demons, and when Jesus expelled them from the man, he sent their spirits into a flock of nearby pigs. The pigs then ran into the Sea of Galilee and drowned. Number 8, MANANANGGAL. This creature hails from the Philippines and is absolutely terrifying to behold. I totally said the name wrong, I know. There was just no... I couldn't find it on the internet, guys, just so you know. I welcome correction, as always. A beautiful woman by day, the demon transforms into evil incarnate when the sun descends. Her back expands into large withered wings, her fangs extend, her fingers grow long, razor-sharp claws. Sounds a little like a vampire, right? Except for the fact that she has to sever her torso from her legs and trails her innards as she flies. Ugh. But during the day, she feeds on the blood of men she seduces into a trap, and pregnant women at night feasting on their wounds. She's literally horrible 24/7, like the definition of evil never sleeps. She just gets worse. But there is a way to best her. If you can find the lower half of her body, cover it in mash, salt, or garlic, then you have a chance of destroying her. She has to reunite with the lower half of her body by sunrise, otherwise she will be destroyed. Beyond that, carry garlic, pungent spices, daggers, tails of stingrays, and holy water to protect yourself. Otherwise, she's a-coming and nothing on earth can stop her. Number 7, Asog. This demon originates from the ancient Sumerian legend and is so terrifying to behold that his mere presence could boil fish. In the Sumerian mythological poem, Asog was described as being huge with 3 legs, 3 arms, with no neck, and more than a few eyes covering his body. His skin is practically indestructible, which served him well as his main mission was to defeat the god Ninurta. In order to do so, he even created an army made of rock people. Thwarted by Ninurta, Asog turned to tormenting humanity. He hunts humans and creates disease and plague upon mankind. He would cover a human like a piece of cloth, causing headaches, fevers, and a violent sickness and making them entirely too weak to survive. Maybe he was responsible for a certain pandemic? You were thinking it, I'm just saying it. Number 6, Jaikininki. This demon hails from the Japanese Buddhism tradition and directly translates to human-eating ghosts. So yeah, pretty much scary right out of the gate there. Humans are their main source of food, though they at least wait until you're dead. They are the spirits of greedy, selfish, and impious souls and appear as human when seen for the most part. Their features are monstrous and have sharp teeth they use to tear the skin from the bones of the dead. As you would expect, they look like rotting corpses themselves, save their glowing yellow eyes. But variants on the lore say that they are actually able to disguise themselves as regular demons during the day, but at night they must feast. Though they have to eat human flesh to survive, they don't enjoy it, but it is the only thing that can slake their eternal hunger. So perhaps it is not so much a case of being afraid of them while you're alive, but the fear of turning into one when you die that makes these creatures so grotesque. Number 5, ABBADON. ABBADON, aka the Destroyer. ABBADON is the 5th angel who fell from heaven and was given the key to the abyss. When the apocalypse comes, he will open it and unleash a terrifying horde of locusts. But not just any locusts. They have a sting like scorpions and only a hunger for human flesh of those who do not have a sign of the Lord upon them. They are not allowed to kill humans, only torture them. For 5 months, leaving the people to seek death but unable to die. The locusts will also look horrendous. They will have human faces. If you're having trouble picturing that, just remember those cockroaches from Cats. They'll also be dolled up in armor, have teeth like lions, and have long, flowing hair. Abaddon is their king, so if you thought the locusts sound terrifying, then so is he by default. He's a good reason to carry some intense bug spray with you at all times. Number 4, Moloch. I honestly don't know which is more terrifying, Moloch himself or the worship of him in general. Moloch and the worship of Moloch is condemned a few times in the Bible. For one, Big reason. Though many religions are not strangers to human sacrifice, Moloch asked for a very specific kind from the younger generation. Many newborns were offered up as sacrifices to God in order to ensure a promise for increased fertility, either for that person or the land. Yeah, guys, let's just give up the kid that we just gave birth to so we can have more kids. Like, no logic. Anyways, the bull-like statue depictions of him popular in the Bronze Age had 7 chambers, one of which was meant for the brutal aforementioned sacrifice. They would heat the structure from within and then place the offering inside and beat the drums so they couldn't hear the screaming. Yeah. This one's pretty bad. Number 3, Asmodeus. Here we go, we're ending strong with our top 3. Asmodeus is one of the most powerful of the infernal demons of hell. You have heard of the town of Sodom, essentially the OG Sin City. That was all his work, and he is super proud of it. Originally a man, Asmodeus is known for guiding citizens toward depravity by feeding them irresistible temptation after the next. He guided the king of Sodom's hand in destroying the city, taking it so far that God's wrath came down upon them. Because he was so corrupt in life, Asmodeus became a demon in death due to his unquenchable lust. That's a promotion for him, I guess. Number 2, Beelzebub. It's so hard to think he's scary when he's got such a fun name to say. It sounds like bubblegum. Anyways. Who better to be number 2 than Satan's right-hand man, Beelzebub, Lord of the Flies, one of the 7th princes of hell. He's associated with the figure of Baal, a former fertility god with an unquenchable hunger. He is said to be one of the most powerful demons of the 7, Lucifer obviously being number 1. He is said to represent the sin of gluttony. He is known to devour all and anything he can in the form of plagues. In religions prior to Catholicism, Beelzebub was associated with sacrifices. Wherever blood was spilt in the name of worship, he was there. He also likes to possess people and torment them, so if you're afraid of possession overall, I would definitely do everything you can to avoid this guy. After all, he's one step away from being Satan. And number 1, the 4 horsemen of the apocalypse. I feel like the title really explains it all as to why these guys are in our number 1 spot. They are literally going to bring about the end of the world. Satan doesn't do that, they do. Conquest will arrive first, riding a white horse, though he's no knight in shining armor, I will say. His arrival is detailed in Revelation as a man wearing a crown and carrying a bow. Also described as a charismatic leader with unlimited ability to conquer. Next up, war with a large sword and a red horse. He has the power turning even lovers to war and can make people kill each other on a dime. Following that, famine, which is always an inevitable factor of war. Last but certainly not least, death, who will arrive on a pale green horse. Besides the obvious reasons these demons are terrifying, you can safely bet that they may already be at work. Considering the amount of war the world has already seen and continues to see to this day, these demons might be far closer to being more human than we may imagine them to be.
Starting off this countdown, we have Nazu. Sometimes otherwise known as Druge, is the demon of death and decay. She takes the form of a fly and has a field day when someone dies. Right after death, after the soul has left the corpse, Nazu infests the body. The body instantly becomes contaminated and will start to decay. And if someone comes in contact with that corpse as it's decaying, Nazu will attack and infect them as well. So it's believed that no one should ever carry a corpse on their own. For if they do, Nazu will, and I quote, emerge from the nose, the eye, the tongue, the sexual organs, and the hinder parts of the deceased, and she will rush upon the corpse barrier and stain him, even to the end of the nails. And then that person is infected by her, and they need to be separated from everyone else and live the rest of their life in isolation. Nazu has also been known to attack dogs. Like hell no, stay away from my furry friends. Anyways, this is one nasty demon you never want to come in contact with. In our 9th spot today we have Lamia, and if you guys are liking this video so far, then smash that like button for me. Lamia is an extremely violent, ancient, and powerful demon. In Greek mythology, she was the queen of Libya and was known for murdering every little innocent kid she could get her hands on. It all started when she had an affair with Zeus. When Zeus's wife Hera found out about this, she forced Lamia to eat her own offspring from her affair with Zeus. Disgusting. But due to this, she had permanent insomnia, so Zeus was all like, I can help you, and then literally removed her eyes. It's so messed up. She then went on to eat hundreds of others. This demon was also featured in the movie Drag Me to Hell. In the movie, it hunts down souls and takes them to hell. You know, drags them down, just as the title suggests. This demon is summoned by a curse that, when activated, will torture its victims for 3 days before it opens a portal to hell and drags them down. This demon also has the ability to alter reality, and it fills its victim's head with gruesome illusions. It can not only possess humans, but also animals. Literally, imagine trying to sleep. She would make you experience the worst of the worst dreams. And then eventually you'd just be driven to madness. Moving on to number 8, we have AAMON. This guy is pretty terrifying. He commands 40 legions of evil spirits, basically to do the dirty work for him. In the Lesser Keys of Solomon, he is referred to as great in power and most strong. I think the visual description of him though makes him even more terrifying. He is just all over the place. He is said to have the shape of a wolf, but with a serpent's tail and a mouth that vomits fire. Not only that though, he can also turn into an old man. But not just any old man, no. An old man with a crow head and dog teeth. Like, what the actual hell? Who the heck designed this dude? It's like it was done by an 8-year-old kid that combined all of his favorite animals together or something. In our 7th spot, we have the Night Demon. The Night Demon, or Popo Bawa, is known to haunt the Tanzanian people of Pemba in the Indian Ocean. And apparently, it's a shapeshifter. It can turn into a bat, other times it can look quite human, or it can just turn into different animals. This demon is said to visit homes at night and attack anyone in the household. It would go house to house attacking families all throughout the night. In fact, a number of real-life attacks happened and they were blamed on this demon. As a result, men were staying awake to defend their house, even camping outside their house in groups. Others smeared themselves with pig's oil, thinking this would prevent the demon from attacking them. In 1997, apparently a farmer named Majaka Hamid, who didn't believe in this demon, actually got attacked by it. He was outside and said he couldn't see it, but he felt it. All of a sudden he felt this terrible pain in his ribs, as if someone was squeezing him and attempting to crush him to death. He believes that this was the demon attacking him. In our 6th spot, we have PAZUZU. Good old PAZUZU. He's the main antagonist of the Exorcist franchise. He is a demon based on the mythological figure in ancient Mesopotamian religion. In Mesopotamian religion, it is said to be the king of demons of the wind and is the bearer of storms and drought. He is often depicted as a creature with the body of a man, head of a lion, and tail of a scorpion. He is also shown with talons and wings, completely different from how he's depicted in the film. Now, PAZUZU in the Exorcist films ended up possessing individuals and makes them very violent. I'm sorry, did you see how Regan turned out in the Exorcist movie? She looked horrifying and gross. This dude is nasty and evil. We are now at our 5th and halfway mark with Zozo, who in fact might be a real demon. Users of Ouija boards would know this demon is someone you need to be scared of and need to look out for. So on March 24th, 2009, the presence of Zozo first came to light when a man named Darren Evans shared his interactions with Zozo online. He was playing with a board when he contacted a spirit who called itself Zozo. At first, according to Evans' account, the interactions with him were seemingly harmless. He experienced noises, moving objects, and flickering lights. He thought nothing of it. Then he started getting scratches and bruises on his skin. During one session with Zozo, Evans had to rush into the bathroom where his girlfriend was giving their daughter a bath. His girlfriend was gone, the tub was overflowing, and his daughter was drowning. He believes that Zozo was behind this. Now you see, tons of other people have then come forward and claimed that they have also come in contact with a spirit that calls itself Zozo. It is said to target mentally unstable and vulnerable users. Zozo has even been linked to a number of murders and people that have taken their own lives. In fact, this entity dates back to 1816. It is mentioned in the book Dictionnaire Infernal by Colin de Plancy. This book tells the story of a young girl who gets possessed by 3 demons: Minnie, Capulet, and Zozo. It's said that if Zozo reveals itself while you're using an Ouija board, then you gotta end the session immediately before you become its next victim. So can we all agree that this demon is horrifying and should never be messed with? Moving on, at number 4 we have Incubus. The Incubus is a male demon that preys on young women in their sleep. He visits them in their dreams and tries to engage in sexual activities with them. One of his goals is to impregnate the women, who then will give birth to its demon baby. There have been a number of real stories of women being visited by this demon in their sleep. They have woken up in the middle of the night and have felt the incubus demon holding them down. Others have seen a blurry silhouette of this demon on them while feeling it caress their body. But no matter what you do, you can't move, you can't get it off of you, you're just stuck there. In fact, sleep paralysis is widely considered to be the work of the incubus and succubus demons. In our third spot we have the succubus demon. So I talked about incubus, it's time to talk about the female counterpart, succubus. Succubus dates back to medieval times. It's a demon that can transform themselves into attractive females to seduce men and engage in sexual activity with them. Then it's said that they can eat a man's soul, or if the men are repeatedly visited by her in their dreams, then she can cause death. Again, just like the incubus demon, a lot of people have said that they have been visited by a succubus demon in their dreams. They're unable to move, but feel this demon on their body, taking advantage of them. In our second spot we have Mara. In Old Norse, Mara is a demon that would sneak into people's rooms at night and sit down on their bodies. By doing so, it would plague their mind with bad dreams. Mara was also sometimes referred to as Mora or mares, which comes from the word nightmares. Whoever got visited by this demon would wake up unable to move with that heavy feeling in their chest from Mara resting on them, which is why she's often associated with sleep paralysis as well. It was also believed that witches could send Mara to anyone they wanted to torment. According to one story, a Norwegian king was sent one night and the demon crushed his legs and then proceeded to press down on his head and kill him. Yikes. Typically, Mara is depicted as being tall and very skinny. Like, you can see her bones through her skin. She's got massive long arms that she can use to hold you down, and she's got nasty little raggedy hair. I never knew this, but apparently there's a 2008 movie called Mara, and it's all about this sleep demon, and now I kinda wanna watch it. And in our number 1 spot today we have Beelzebub. Beelzebub has a devil put aside for me. I swear I always think of Bohemian Rhapsody when I hear this demon's name, so is it just me? Let me know in the comments below, it's probably just me. Okay, so Beelzebub's name literally translates to Lord of the Flies. As a result, he is often depicted as an evil fly or as a man with wings. In Christian texts, the name Beelzebub is often associated with the devil himself. They would alternate between using this name and Satan. He is considered one of the 7 princes of hell, and he is associated with the sin gluttony. Now, Beelzebub actually had a huge influence on the Salem witch trials, which is what he's probably most famous for. He was blamed for possessing the souls of those who were accused of being witches. He's also said to be responsible for several demonic possessions. The most famous case being Annalise Michel, a devout Catholic woman who is said to have been possessed by 5 different demons. As a result, she underwent 67 exorcisms to try and get Beelzebub and the other demons out of her body. This demon also possessed a woman named Nicole Aubry. She was possessed by 30 spirits from 1565 to 1566. When a priest cast Beelzebub out of her body, a cloud of black smoke came out of her. And lastly, we have Father Louis Godfredi. He was also possessed by this demon and ended up getting burned at the stake in 1611. When he was set on fire, a swarm of flies flew out of his body. Yeah, no thanks, that's horrifying.
In our number 10 spot we have the table throwing demon. Okay, here's some crazy footage for you of a possible real life demon. I mean, heck, the Bible has warned us that demons are tricky and they play with us and influence us and make us feel fear. Well, that is seemingly exactly what happens in the video I'm about to show you. Here we have a woman who is sitting in what looks like a banquet hall, and she's on her cell phone when she hears a chair move. She turns around and sees nothing, but then the chair beside her moves and she freaks out and falls on the floor. Then a bunch of chairs and tables begin to move and you see her get so frightened that she tries to stand up and then she falls on the floor again. She could have fainted too, it's kind of unclear. The footage is so wild and it's so clear that this woman isn't an actress and that this isn't edited footage. It's too natural, and I mean, if she is, then man, she deserves an Oscar. If you're liking this video, don't forget to give it a like as it will really help us out. In our number 9 spot we have Satan. Well duh, if there was going to be one demon on this list that we all know about, obviously it was going to be Satan himself. Satan was once a guardian cherub, but God found wickedness within him, or so is said in Ezekiel 28:12-15. Luke has also mentioned that Jesus saw Satan fall from heaven like a lightning bolt, and that is how he gained the name of fallen angel. Something that I didn't know until this video though is that apparently Satan does not rule over hell but is punished and just imprisoned with the other souls in hell. That's interesting. From my understanding, Satan is the king and creator of demons, and these demons have influence and infiltrate society and cause sadness and havoc. So basically we're living amongst many demons these days. Everywhere you look, everything you hear or read, there's some kind of messaging that hits an emotional chord that makes you feel understood. But then you'll hear something else that is a conflicting perspective, and you also feel understood from that. And the result is that you're left confused and you feel pulled in many directions, and you will feel vulnerable, and that's when it will be easy to control you. Beware of the influential demons like Satan. In our number 8 spot we have the shapeshifters. Guys, I'm a little shocked that the Bible subtly points to shapeshifters. I guess I just assumed that this was a modern day conspiracy theory fueled by the Marvel movies, but no, there is evidence to suggest that shapeshifters have been around and spoken about since before the Bible. Mark said, after these things he appeared in another form to 2 of them as they were walking into the country. He appeared in another form to 2 of them as they were walking into the country. That's it, they exist. I'm a believer. Also, what's the consensus? Should we just now conclude that Obama's security guard is indeed a shapeshifter? I feel like yes. Who's a believer? Let me know in the comment section below. In our number 7 spot we have the chair moving demon. Okay, this could be just a ghost or a demon. I mean, who knows? In this clip you see a girl in perhaps a classroom or a common area as there are computers and lounge chairs, and she seems to be looking at something when suddenly she runs out of the room. Then a few moments later you see the lounge chair move and the door close. The ghost/demon is having a meeting, so he wanted his privacy, guys. The devil requires privacy. Okay, but seriously, what is this? How is this footage not more mainstream? I'm scared. I hope somebody called a priest after witnessing this footage. This place definitely needs to be cleansed. In fact, we should get the priests of the world to just cleanse the world. We may just need a general world cleansing because clearly the demons are among us judging by this video. I'm scared. I want my mom. In our number 6 spot we have the reptile people. Okay guys, we know that there are many references to reptiles in the Bible. I mean, if you don't, then I'm here to tell you that indeed there are. In fact, the Bible starts with Adam and Eve is persuaded by the snake to eat the forbidden fruit, so the stories really begin right away. But there have been evidence of people believing in the reptile people for many centuries, even dating back to ancient Mesopotamia, where they created an artifact called the Ubaid lizard man, which has made people believe that it is possible that they worshipped lizard people, the reptiles. In Revelation 12:9 it is said, quote, "And the great dragon was thrown down, that ancient serpent, who is called the devil and Satan, the deceiver of the whole world. He was thrown down to the earth, and his angels were thrown down with him." The serpent was thrown down to earth, eh? Sounds a lot like a reptile person confirmation to me. Now whether or not they are demons, that is the question. There have been way too many reptile Hollywood sightings to count, so beware folks. In our number 5 spot we have the lawless one. In the Bible, 2 Thessalonians 2:9, I might have pronounced that wrong, sorry, it's been a while since I've been to church. Thessalonians 2:9, we are warned about the lawless one who is doing the work of Satan, aka a demon. The coming of the lawless one is by the activity of Satan with all power and false signs and wonders. Who exactly this message is referring to, I mean, it could be any number of people in history that promised wonders and things that they could not keep. Historical political leaders that may have tricked the masses. I mean, there have been many, from Genghis Khan to presidents in this day and age. So who's to say who this verse is speaking about, but perhaps at this point this benevolent demon has reincarnated many times over, considering the Bible stories are from thousands of years ago. In our number 4 spot, we have the man that couldn't speak. Demons are spoken about so much in the Bible, and on many accounts, stories are told where it is believed that people have come across these demons. Mark speaks about a demon that made someone's son unable to speak. This demon caused its victim to have epileptic-like seizures, in which he was at times thrown down to wallow on the ground and made to foam at the mouth. No one was able to get rid of this demon but Jesus, after saying to the spirit, "Deaf and dumb spirit, I command you, come out of him and enter him no more." This has led a lot of people over the thousands of years to believe that mental illness is really just demonic possession. Obviously, we know better now about what mental illness is, but you may be surprised to hear that there are still a lot of people that believe that multiple personality disorder is demonic possession. In our number 3 spot, we have the parking lot demon. Years ago, a news station in Serbia called Channel 4 reported the wildest story. Apparently, a woman was in a parking lot when suddenly something invisible started chasing her, and whatever it was jumped from one lamp post to the other. She was so frightened that she went to the police to report that a maniac was chasing her. The police took a look at the footage and couldn't believe what they saw. It looked to be a transparent human running back and forth. Some believe it to be someone from another universe glitching into ours, but the woman swears that it was chasing her, so some believe that it was a demon. It's so crazy to see, and I read that the Bible warned us about a spirit called ABBADON, whom is the leader of the demons, and honestly this could very well be proof of one of the ABBADON demons, as this woman was definitely terrorized by something. In our number 2 spot, we have the demon Selfie. This is a picture of a demon and a boy, and it's crazy to see. This pic isn't even blurry, so that makes it more horrifying. Basically, a mom from Pennsylvania named Heather was taking a picture of her son. When she looked at the photo, she saw a mysterious person with black eyes creeping out from behind him. She said that there was no one in sight when she was taking her photo but her son. So that is ridiculously insane. This looks like a demon porcelain doll in my opinion. Oh my gosh, that is just the most terrifying. Imagine if she was home alone with her son. I truly hope not. I would never ever want to be home alone again if this happened to me. In our number 1 spot, we have the Brazilian Demon Man. Yo, this has to be the scariest thing I've ever seen. Okay, maybe not, but it is still terrifying to think that multiple people witnessed this. Okay, so in 2015, many reports were being filed about a strange demon-like wolf man in Brazil. It started popping up everywhere, and then someone managed to review street footage and got it captured in a still shot. Here we have a man who looks like he's part wolf or straight out of a Hollywood blockbuster, to be honest. He has long pointy ears and strange wolf-like legs and appears to have a small tail. The shot is blurry as it's night and pitch black, but if this isn't a demon, then I don't know what is. This is definitely one of the demons that the Bible warned us about. Hey Brazilians, beware.